Hi, good morning. The sun's gonna reflect off my glasses the whole time. Today I'm gonna tell you about all the things that I read in January, which was 4 things, and I gave none of them less than 4 stars, which is actually really awesome. And then I'm going to tell you what I'm currently reading, which I think you guys, it'll be no surprise at all because I've been very communicative about it. So the first book that I read, I actually do not have with me because I borrowed it, and that would be My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry by Frederick Bachman. This was my first Frederick Bachman read. I do have A Man Called Ove, but I have not read it yet. It's definitely something that I'm going to get to. And also, there's this book I believe called Britt Marie Was Here. I'll put the cover over here just in case, but Britt Marie is a huge factor within My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry, so I definitely want to read that one, and that one's coming out in paperback, I think like February 4th, so I'm totally gonna buy that. I'm so excited. However, this book is about Elsa. Elsa is 7. She gets constantly bullied, and her grandmother is her best friend. It says on the back cover, so no spoilers. The grandmother passes away, and the entire book is basically her dealing with the fact that her grandmother passed away. Her grandmother sent her on sort of a quest, but it's mainly a quest of just like sending letters around, but she doesn't just like hand letters and be like, here, hand these out to everybody. It's just her going into different places trying to figure out different things about her grandmother and about her grandmother's past life. There's so much magical realism in it because the grandmother tells her stories constantly, and it's just about this world that the grandmother built for Elsa that she could sort of escape to, but then she realizes that that world wasn't just made for her, and she has to cope with the fact that her grandmother had another life that wasn't shared with Elsa. It's a really, really, really powerful story, and it was written so incredibly beautifully, and I just loved everything about it. Like I said, gorgeous magical realism, gorgeous storytelling. I absolutely loved it, would highly recommend it to everybody. And it's one of those wonderful transition adult novels where if you generally read YA, this is something to easily immerse yourself into like the adult realm. I really love child narrators for that reason. I think they're just books for everybody. There's no like mature content or anything. I gave that one 5 out of 5 stars. The next book that I ended up reading is very overdue from the library by now, but I wanted to hold it up. So this is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. The only thing that I had read by Marissa Meyer previously was Cinder. I need to get through the rest of the series. I think I own the rest of the series, or close to it anyway. I don't think I have Crest, but I have all of the other ones, even Fairest. But this is a standalone, which was beautiful, and that's half the reason that I got it, because I never get through series ever. But the other massive half is it's about Alice in Wonderland, and I'm a huge Alice in Wonderland fanatic. I love Alice in Wonderland everything. I memorized Jabberwocky a while back. I remember part of it, but not all of it, but Alice in Wonderland's incredible, and this is a backstory of the Queen of Hearts. The Queen of Hearts in this book is a baker, and all she wants to do is own a bakery when she gets older, but the king has taken a liking to her, and her mother and father want her to be courted by him so that she can take the throne, because obviously that's what you want for your child. Her mother's a little bit scary. She meets Jest, which is a joker of sorts, at one of the king's balls and falls for him completely, but obviously she's not going to marry him. It's weird. It's like it didn't follow the usual tropes, but then it did follow the usual tropes. It was really interesting because you knew what was going to happen in the end, and you knew that it wasn't going to have a particularly happy ending, but you still rooted for it. I really liked that it ended up exactly how you thought that it would, and didn't have this twist ending where she didn't become the Queen of Hearts or anything. Really wonderful. I read this in like 2 sittings, I think. I had this really long break at work one day, and it was just like this 3-hour time where I could just sit and read the story, and like it just read like a fairy tale. I loved the Mad Hatter in this. I loved how he wasn't particularly mad yet. I loved everything. I loved Marianne. Marianne was so great. I love that Marianne was actually like her housekeeper. So many good things in here. I really liked this. Quality. I gave it 4 stars. I'd highly recommend it. It was fun, and it was something that I really appreciated as somebody that appreciates Alice in Wonderland. I thought it was great, and I think that even if you don't particularly like Alice in Wonderland, this isn't like super nonsensical. The main character, Catherine, who becomes the Queen of Hearts, is trying all the time to try and make sense of everything. So if you're not a fan of the nonsensical, Catherine's your girl. The next thing that I read was If I Was Your Girl by Meredith Russo, and this is about a girl that goes to a new town because because she has had a very rough past in her last town, and the reason that she has had a rough past, again it says so on the synopsis, is that she used to be a boy and she wanted desperately to become a girl. She had a lot of rough times getting there. She eventually got there, but now that she moved to a new town, she has to be sort of careful about how she portrays herself, just to make sure that none of the rough stuff happens again. It's written like a normal contemporary novel, and I think that's what I love most about this book, is just like the normalcy of it all. The fact that like this could have been written as just a normal cisgendered white female narrator, and it wasn't, and it gave a new voice, and I absolutely loved that. And it didn't like revolve completely around the transition. However, it did give you some like massive hardships about that transition, and it made it a focal point and it made it important, but at the same time you saw a story that could be anybody's story. It didn't make her out to be a victim necessarily. She ended up making friends and having a relationship and just like being this overall thriving person. I loved that so much. It was a very easy read. I think it's something that everyone should read. It reminded me a lot of Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson, just the way that it was written, not necessarily the content that was there, but it was just like a hardship that was written in a way that was so easily devoured. Highly recommend. 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close by Jonathan Safran Foer. This is a book that I wanted to read for so long. When I said that it was going to be in my TBR, mainly like all of the comments were about this. It was incredible. It was so good. I borrowed this from a friend. I'm so glad that I did. This is about Oscar. He's 9, I believe. His father passed away in 9/11. I live on Long Island, so everybody that I know knows at least one person who was affected by 9/11. So it was really interesting reading a book that sort of revolved around that event. However, I watched the movie just like a few days ago. I feel like the movie revolved more so around the event. This revolved more so around Oscar just trying to find out about his dad, but then also in turn growing a little bit himself, learning how to speak to new people. You also saw in this, rather than the movie, just like so much more of a generation effect. You learned so much about his grandparents, his grandfather as well as his grandmother, and just like their life beforehand, and that was incredible. And you just learned that this was like one of the hardships of many that many had to go through within many lifetimes, which was just incredible. And this is just another one of those books that's so well written, just like the Frederick Bachman book. It was just like such a pleasure to read. It had pictures, which I didn't expect, and just like these blank sort of pages. It was one of those books where you were looking for clues every single time, and I loved that so much about it. There's a story in here revolving the 6th borough of New York, which was also mentioned in the movie, so if you've seen that and you didn't read the book, then maybe that'll be something. But the 6th borough story was my favorite thing in here, and it just everything about it was so good. This was another 5 out of 5 star book. It was just so incredibly written, and Oscar is just such a great narrator to read from. I just really love child perspectives. They're so great. Was that the last book that I read? I think it was. Yeah, right, so that was the 4th book that I read, and the book that I'm reading currently is Skippy Dies by Paul Murray. I'm literally on the first page of this, so haven't technically started it. However, it's a buddy read that I'll be getting through throughout the month, so that'll be nice. And then I'm also reading The Edge of Everything, which I should be at page 70 by next Monday. I'll be discussing it on Goodreads. And then I think I kind of want to participate in the TBR Takedown, which is taking place on February 6th, and I'll leave the information for that down below if you want to participate, because it's a great readathon. I love it so much, and I really would like to participate. We'll see how that goes. I think if I do participate, then I'll just like sneak a vlog video of like my TBR Takedown week, and I just won't make a TBR, because I'll probably have a TBR for myself, but I filmed so many TBRs that I don't want to bombard you with TBRs of books that I might not even read. So that's it. Let me know what books you recently read, or if you've read any of these books and you have any thoughts on them, or tell me what books you are currently reading. And I hope you're having a great day and a great week, and I'll see you soon. I did want to say thank you so much for all the thoughtful comments on my previous video, the video where I talk a little bit about political circumstances and how they're not talked about enough on certain social media sites. I really appreciated how thoughtful the comments were. I was a little freaked out about posting it, and that's why I did a little bit of a disclaimer at the beginning, but a few comments said that it wasn't really necessary just because I wasn't saying anything completely erratic. So I really appreciate that. Thank you guys for being so kind always and for being so thoughtful and for just, I don't know, thank you. Appreciate it. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.